And awesome. Okay. Happy Tuesday, everyone. This is Pam with Purrrfectly Holistic, and I am so excited to be back live streaming again from Georgetown, Texas. And I have some very special guests today, and we're going to give it just a couple minutes to let people start to pop on a little bit. Sorry for the delay. We have a little mix up in our time clocks, but no big deal. So, the nice thing about being entrepreneurs is you kind of set your own schedule. So we can just pop in whenever we want to. So that's the nice thing. So I'm gonna open the comments up. So if you guys happen to be watching, pop your name in. Let us know where you're watching from, so we can say hello. And then you guys are most welcome to drop comments in during our presentation. And this is just going to be a chat among friends. There's nothing formal here. We're just all here to learn a little bit. And I'm super excited to learn about this technology from LifeWave. And my two guests today are Susan Carabello, who hails from Florida, and Janet Kiefer, right here in Georgetown, Texas. What a small world. So welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Janet, let's start with you real quick and just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing with LifeWave.
All right. I'm Janet Kiefer. I live in Georgetown, Texas, not far from Pam. We're learning. I'm not currently a cat owner. I'm a cat grandmother to a very cute cat that just turned 5, right? Name Scout, but it's now become Smoosh. You know how you get nicknames. So yes, indeed. So we're going to talk about a really amazing technology I was introduced to last June that works with people and animals and works. It's not a drug. It's nothing you swallow. It's nothing that you have to go to the vet for. You can just work with your animals. And Susan's got some really great stories coming up here. But I'm here to support you all, give you background about the company and technology, and answer questions.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Susan, tell us a little bit about you and how you found LifeWave.
Absolutely. I live in Tallahassee, Florida. And by the way, Rocky, the star of the show, my beautiful 15-year-old feline companion, is out sunbathing. and I will go wake her up when we're ready to introduce her. But at 15, I let her nap. I got introduced to LifeWave. Well, I'm a wellness educator, retired psychotherapist of about 8 years in retirement. And I had COVID long hauler syndrome. And I was just going downhill, and I called a friend, and she's into holistic stuff. And she said, you know what, you need stem cells. And I had researched stem cells. I was like, those injections, oh, no way. Unknown body parts in them. And then she explained that it was light therapy. And I know the power of stem cells. So I was in, and here I am 6 months later with really documented results and just the way I feel. I'm 67. I feel like I'm in my 40s again. I mean, it's amazing. Actually, maybe even better. So when you saved my cat's life, Rocky, as you know, Pam, you were there on the journey with me. Rocky got very sick in January, and we'll talk about that more later. But what it did for her, myself, my dad, my friends, it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. So why don't you guys talk about LifeWave as a company, who they are, who the founder was, how smart he is, what he's been designing, what he's been doing in labs that's incredible and that's changing people's lives.
Sure. Well, I'll kick off on that, Pam. David Schmidt is our CEO and the inventor of this technology. However, I want everyone to know that he has 130 patents. Only 10 of them are for these patches. Okay, so 120 other inventions. And that's basically how he started this company, LifeWave, was research and development that he was doing for the Navy SEAL team. They asked him to create something that would help the people on the subs stay awake without resorting to all the harmful stimulants. And I don't know exactly how he thought of putting light frequencies in a patch. But nonetheless, he did. And the first one was called Energy Enhancer. That was back a little before 2004. And it utilizes your body's fat. It burns about 500 calories of fat a day to put a very smooth energy throughout your system. And the SEALs were able to stay alive on their little mini subs. And then David just went on and kept inventing other patches. We have some for pain. We have ones that help balance out the metabolism. I mean, I won't go through all 10, but certainly the X39, which we'll talk about, Janet's going to talk about that, that technology is revolutionary. So we are in about 71 countries. I can't even begin to tell you how many languages. I mean, we are a multinational company. We have over 90 clinical trials on these patches. Every single one is clinically tested before it goes out the door. And so, we're very proud. Yeah.
Well, as you should be, because that's a lot of work, and kudos to him. Gosh, he's such a smart man.
Mm-hmm.
90 patches.
Yes. And he has such a great personality. Like, you think somebody that smart may be a little nerdish, not David. I mean, he's incredible.
That's amazing. So Janet, go ahead and continue.
Well, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Susan. We're going to talk a lot about this product X39, and these little patches are about the size, maybe a little bigger than a quarter, $50. And think about when we talk about stem cells, first of all, we want to talk about stimulating, activating our own and your cat's stem cells. Since that's the master cell, they become muscle, or they become rods and cones in the eye, or they grow you a new toenail, whatever you need to have them very healthy. The problem is, for both cats and for us, as we're aging, they're declining. And so with the technology, which I'll keep at a very high level, and there's lots of wonderful YouTube videos. If you just go into YouTube and search LifeWave, and even for pets, you're going to see some great videos for pets. And basically, you've heard of infrared. Some of you may have had infrared treatments at a chiropractor, a doctor, or your esthetician. You've heard about night vision goggles. So let me put that together. We have an infrared field in our body. We just can't see it because our eyes can't see infrared. And so if you've got night vision goggles on, like the military uses, you can see us in the dark, right? You can see the animals too. You could find your cat at night in the yard, right? So with the patches, they're activating our field, or then activating stem cells. So they're dropping inflammation, they're helping with pain, and they're helping kick on all this healing. And so we're going to have Pam and Susan really talk about how they're used and where you place them. But here's the thing, what's so wonderful, it's not a drug. It's absolutely a technology that sits on the skin or on the cat's collar. They're going to talk about that. And you're going to find that there's no reactions, there's no side effects. On the people side, we use them on very small children all the way up to 90, 100-year-olds. And we're getting tremendous response with that. So it's just an adhesive that you peel off, and you're going to stick on the cat. And we're going to talk about how long you should leave it on. And then you just dispose of it. And you're going to be actually, from all the videos and Susan's story, I think you're going to be very happy, much less, if I can go there, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars less than a veterinarian visit. So I'll stop there.
That's incredible. And, these days I see more and more pet parents really seeking out alternatives. That's how they find me. That's how they find my colleagues that work in the industry, in similar natural health settings, whether that be holistic veterinarians or just influencers that are working to promote better natural health for cats overall. So having tools that are just so simple, that are drug-free, just resonates with a lot of people, because I think there's just a lot of reservations these days about drugs and using them for pets and not getting the results that we want, and spending hundreds and thousands of dollars and not getting the results. So it's very, very frustrating. So let's talk about some of these amazing stories, Susan.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we'll start with Rocky, if you don't mind.
Of course.
And hopefully I will go get her before the end of the show and introduce her. But how I started Rocky on the patches, I was on one of Janet's Zoom meetings, and I heard another pet parent, she had a dog, and she was talking about how she'd been taking her X39s that she had worn the day before, and she would take the used one and put it on her dog's collar. And the dog was very old and very deaf. As a matter of fact, she would call it for dinner or call it for whatever, it wasn't answering. And I forget the exact amount of time that the dog was wearing it. It wasn't long, though. I'm thinking maybe like 2 weeks. I don't know if you remember this.
Oh, I think less than that, a couple days.
A couple days, okay. And then the dog would hear her call it for dinner or get up on the couch, and the dog would respond. And I thought, well, shoot, Rocky's 15. She had started sleeping all the time. I mean, just, vegetative. And so I got Scotch tape, and I would either tape them like near the top of her neck or near the bottom of her tail. And I kid you not, within days, this cat is jumping on my lap, purr, 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 mommy pet me, wanting to go outside again. So I really did see a rejuvenation effect. She wasn't sick at that time. It was just more energy, more loving. She became her younger self. Fast forward a few months later, and she gets this terrible allergic reaction. And Pam, I think I called you pretty quickly, and you came on board with, the optimal cat analysis, et cetera, identified the allergy. But because she had so much mucus in the nose and the sinus cavity, she just stopped eating. I mean, she was not going to eat. And so I panicked, like every good pet parent, right? And I just started slathering her in patches. I found, and we don't have to talk about it today, but I found this great website called Tallgrass. It's got more of a name than that, but they give you acupressure points for cats. Because I thought, well, if I know where the sinus points are, and I know where the liver point is, and I can place different patches on there. And I had, by the way, read this cat testimonial on one of our websites that Janet mentioned. So here I am with my phone propped up. My bedroom was literally a kitty ICU. I'm in the chair. I've got Rocky in my arm who can barely move. And I'm just, testing out, finding these locations, putting the patches on. And as you know, Pam, it was probably a little over 2 weeks. I mean, she barely drank. And I mean, I would take a syringe with a little bit of water. She would spit it up. I'd put a little bit of baby food in it. She could barely tolerate that. And she has now fully gained all of her weight back. Her energy level isn't quite back where it was before, hence the sun baths. But these patches saved her life, no doubt in my mind.
And tell our viewers how long Rocky was not eating on her own.
She was not eating on her own for about approximately 2.5 weeks.
And that in itself is a miracle, you guys, because if cats go, more than 24 to 48 hours without food, they can go into hepatic lipidosis, which is, a fatty liver disease, and that can be very, very fatal. And so the fact that she was able to sustain herself, and recover without veterinary intervention. And I'm not saying, you shouldn't take your cat to the vet if they stop eating, but I'm just saying how incredible that is that she got through that.
Kim, do you mind if I just tell the audience, so they don't think I'm cruel to animals? I had an animal communicator that I'd worked with for years. And Rocky is a rescue. Her mother was killed when she was 2.5 weeks old. And to put her in a cage or whatever. And so I asked the animal communicator one day, I said, will you just ask Rocky, because I used to have a holistic vet come to the home. And I said, does she want to be treated at home, or is she okay going to the vet? And Rocky was very clear, never, ever If a holistic vet can't, and we don't have any here in the Tallahassee area, we have no holistic vets that'll come to the home. So Pam, with your skillful guidance and work with me and the patches, Rocky's here.
Right.
Yeah.
Christine asked over at Headbutt Hotel, which patch were you using on Rocky?
The primary patch I was using, the two main ones were the X39, which is the stem cells, and the Aeon, which is our anti-inflammatory. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And then how long were you leaving those patches on per day?
Well, long. After you gave me the muscle test the other day, I was like, oops.
Well, it worked.
It worked. It got, I think maybe when an animal is that terminal, I mean, she got down to probably 3 or 4 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a cat that normally weighs close to 10. So she was literally skin and bones. And so no, I kept them on probably 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And that's the beautiful thing about non-invasive energy kind of modalities like this is they're not toxic. You know what I'm saying? So the body's going to take whatever it needs. Yes. And then if we apply the technique of muscle testing for specific cases, Rocky needed 10 hours a day or whatever it was, but maybe another cat would only need 3 or 4 hours per day. It depends on the situation and the severity and the pet, because every pet's unique, every pet's different. So their bodies are different and how their response times are. So that's very interesting. Leslie has a question. She says, where do you put the patch on the pet? On the fur?
I do. I have my Scotch tape. And I know for a cat that wears a collar, you're not going to have any problem. You just tape it to the collar. And when Janet showed you the patch with the adhesive, you just face that toward the cat so that the cat is getting, those little crystals inside it that emit the frequencies. But I would just tape it to her. And now she is used to it. Some days she will pull it off a little bit. And if she does pull it off the neck or at the top of the tail, I just will stick it on her tail, and that seems to not bother her. Mm-hmm. She'll wear it. And actually, I have another cat on them right now who started pulling hair. Pam, I'm going to do an analysis with you soon. She started pulling hair back by her kidneys. Mm-hmm. A lot of hair she's pulling out. And so I've started patching her with my used X39. And some days I'll double up with Aeon, and I've started patching her. So
May I add in there, some in the audience may have had acupuncture before, and you're working with the energy meridians where they place the needles, or even acupressure, right? Yeah. Well, as Susan's saying, why the back of the neck or the tail is just like us. They've got all of their energy and nerves running down that spine. Mm-hmm. And so the patches don't have to really be right on a certain point. Right. They connect into that system and start moving through the body. And I would also mention, for those who may have more than just cats, I know they might have dogs.
They might have dogs, and it's okay.
And they might have horses.
It works on horses.
Yeah, these patches have been used in the equine industry, I think, for about 15 years.
Oh, wow.
With pain. So if any of your audience has horses or folks with it, go on YouTube and just search for a video that's called Horses Don't Lie, and it'll show you them placing the patches and how quickly they respond. But I think, to Susan's point, cats don't lie. It's going to work or it's not going to work, because they're not humans telling us, well, what does she want to hear? It's going to work or it's not. So it's very clear quickly.
Well, that's what they say, the placebo effect, for pets. It either works or it doesn't, and you're going to see a result. When you see the result, you can't deny the results.
I will say though too, because some people, as you know, aren't as sensitive. Like, I'll have people go, well, I'm not feeling anything. And I'll either say, well, let's look at a clinical trial where we've measured that it is elevating the peptide that creates stem cells in your body. So you've got the clinical study end of it, and then also just the fact that 90% of the nerves in the body are non-sensory. So it's okay if you're not feeling it, but I'll tell you, almost everybody says that they're feeling it pretty quickly. Yeah.
That's a very good point, because we don't always know what's going on in our bodies. I mean, some people are very, very in tune. I am one of those people. I can tell you when I go to the chiropractor exactly which vertebrae is out of alignment and all of that. But there's some people that just don't have that awareness.
Yes.
And then there's some people that have been so out of balance energetically for so long, they don't know what normal is supposed to feel like, because it's so abnormal they're used to, you know. So when they're starting to feel good, maybe they don't even realize what they're feeling and changing. But with pets, it's so interesting, because even just watching their behavior change is an indication. Watching their appetite change, watching them perk up and show an interest in something that previously they were just not, you know, they weren't interested in anymore, or just having a little bit more activity level. I mean, those are all little subtle signs. Or, you know, a big yawn, or a release of, you know, a stretch or whatever, just kind of, that's a response. And sometimes we just don't know what to look for in terms of a visual response, but it doesn't negate the fact that there is something going on internally on the biological, physiological level that you guys have seen in those studies, you know, that prove this. Look, you can monitor the levels. Look at the changes in the blood work, or whatever it is that they're looking at and monitoring to notice those differences. And that's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, so Christine says, we use the LifeWave patches for pain and the Aeon.
Excellent.
And that was for a cat with stomatitis. So yeah, you'll have to let us know, Christine, how that's going for him. And let's see. She also says, we'll use a collar and wrap the patch with a collar, and then tape the patch on an adhesive also. Ours didn't stick to their skin or fur very well. So I'm guessing it probably depends on the fur, the animal, but you have to be creative. With dogs, you can use bandanas or, you know, whatever. Too.
Exactly. With this patch, if it's within 3 inches of our skin or their skin, that field is activated.
Oh, wow.
So you can put it on a bandana, you can put it on a collar. And even if you're working, we have people working with small children, they'll put it on the back of their nightgown or something that just isn't as interfering. But yeah, so if you wander around with these in your pocket, they'll activate.
Wow. Yeah, because it goes off of your heat, the body heat, right? It's activated by body heat. Yeah. So you can just put your hand up close enough to your body, you can feel the body heat. You don't have to touch.
Yeah,
that's right.
So that's so interesting. Okay, so we've talked about how cool these patches are. Why don't you share some testimonials and stories that you found? Besides Rocky, of course. Rocky's an incredible story.
I know. Rocky's like this. She's a little star of the show.
She's beautiful.
So I have one little guy here. This is, and I know, I'll just describe it. You see a cat with a little cast on its arm, and then you see the LifeWave patch, like right at the point where it bends. And this pet parent says, she's calling it a kitten, but to me, it looks like an adolescent.
Hold it up at the camera so we can kind of see really close. A little higher. There you go. Yes, what a cutie pie.
Isn't that a cutie pie?
Yes, and I see the little patch on his elbow there.
Yeah. And so she says, this sweet kitten had an injury, and on the initial visit, the vet was told that he'd probably lose the leg. But after using X39 for only 3 days, he got so much better. The vet said he progressed so fast that the amputation was ruled out. And she ends it by saying, praise the Lord, miracles do happen. So I know. Now look at this next one. You're going to love. Just if you can help me line it up, Pam.
A little higher to your left. Yes. Oh, I see it on his little leg. He's got a boo-boo.
Somebody just had a little bite to eat, I think. And so this is Luna, And the owner says that this cat had really bad asthma due to past abuse. She had spent about $2,000 and nothing was working. Luna was hospitalized. She purchased the X39 patches and put one on her, and she saw a difference within an hour. 4 exclamation points. Prior to this, she wasn't eating, she was hiding. And before she took her to the vet, so she said, this next time I tried the X39 before calling the vet, save that $2,000, right? I couldn't watch her suffer. And after Lorraine told me it helped her cat, I put a brand new X39 on her, and I've seen nothing but improvement ever since. The growth, there must have been some kind of growth involved. Oh no, the growth is on our next testimonial. So yeah, that's Luna.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, let me stop you there for just a second. What's interesting is she said, I put either a used patch or I put a new patch. So it's interesting the fact that you don't necessarily have to use a brand new patch. Like Susan, I think you said you used your used ones that you used on you first and you gave them to Rocky.
I did, especially in the beginning before she got sick and I saw all the improvements.
Yeah.
Those were used. Yeah. Then when she got really sick though, I used some new ones.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting because, you know, like I said earlier, some cats only need 3 or 4 hours a day. Mm-hmm. Other cats may be more. And so, but you peel the little stickies off and you're like, okay, well, that's 4 hours. And typically you guys were educating me that it's about a 12-hour lifespan for the patch.
Right.
So the fact that, okay, when I was using them on me, I just put the little stickies back on and put it aside and then grabbed it again and I rescued a little injured bunny. So I was putting it on the bunny. But I would reuse the patch, you know, the next day. So I think it's really cool that you can get potentially more than one use out of these little things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and that's
about hours.
Now that she's back to baseline, I'm putting my used ones on her again. Yeah. So
interesting.
All right. Well, this next one, this is another, I know in the newsletter, Pam, you sent out that yellow cat with the tumor near its nose. Am I getting this in the right place?
Take it up just a tiny bit. There you go. This is Gabriel.
Gabriel, look at that big tumor if you can see that.
Is it on his face?
It's in the, it's right below his collar.
Oh, okay. Yes, I couldn't tell. Yes, that little spot. Mm-hmm.
Yep. The picture's not really big. And so it says, Gabriel is about 15. A year ago, the vet noticed this growth in his mouth on the left side and that it grew. Oh, so maybe it is coming out of the mouth. That's hard to tell by the picture. It grew rapidly. It was in the jawbone, so surgery was not an option. There was nothing else to do. She said, I had bottle fed this little guy from when he was 2 days old. Wow. And then she said she started her journey with LifeWave and X39. She'd seen comments about people patching their animals and decided she had nothing to lose. So she patched his collar. And you can see actually back on the collar, like this looks like it's, you know, in the middle part of the collar on the side of the neck. She's got a patch there. And she said, after about a week of changing the patch every day, I noticed he wasn't shaking his head anymore while eating his wet food. I opened his mouth and the growth was all but gone. So that's after about a week. And that was the same thing in the newsletter one that you sent out, Pam. It was about 7 days that she saw. So, and she just said, you know, the vet was amazed. And I'm forever grateful to David Schmidt for this technology to help my fur babies. I'm a 22-year rescue mama and have been experimenting with the patches on my animals. There are lots of them. We're seeing good results. Thank you, LifeWave.
Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. There's just so many potential ways to use for any condition, any health ailment, general well-being, seniors, you know, aches and pains, arthritis, whatever the case might be.
And as holistic people, and this is where I love speaking to customers like what you have. I mean, I'm singing to the choir. I got into holistic medicine when the age of 19, Bethesda Naval Hospital told myself and my parents, we can't fix her. We do not know how to fix her.
I have a clue.
And so that's how I got into holistic medicine 40 some years ago. I love knowing that, especially this particular product, I mean, it is the body's wisdom that guides the process. So you really don't, like you were saying earlier, Pam, you really don't have to worry, and Janet, you were saying it too, about getting that patch in a particular spot. And if you leave it on for a couple hours longer, you're not going to hurt your pet. Now, that said, just like humans sometimes have detox reactions, Rocky did have a few days with diarrhea. So her body was releasing, I think, those allergens. And we do have humans that sometimes report, oh, I had a headache, I felt fatigued, or maybe a little diarrhea. I think those are the most common ones, yeah, Janet, that we hear sometimes.
And I would also say that both Pam and Susan also, though, we're not claiming this can cure or heal a specific wound. As another person said, or maybe it was Susan, the body knows what to do. This just gives the body the energy and the stimulation to go after the issue that way.
Right.
So, again, we don't want to make medical claims because we're not veterinarians.
Right.
But we would love the veterinarians.
But here's where I'm going to tell you, I sent out an email to my group earlier today to invite them to a meeting tonight. And I said, I told him the story that yesterday my 92-year-old father saw his cardiologist. My dad's a retired Marine of 30 years. He took 2 sets of labs, one from Mayo Clinic and one from the VA, because he said, my doctor's not going to believe my results. And I want him to see it from 2 different places. And he said that and I quote this in my little email, he said his cardiologist said, John, this is miraculous. You're 92. 92-year-olds don't go back and produce labs like they're.
Susan, how long has your dad been on the X39?
6 months.
Okay.
The first 3 months, and I put that in the email. He's been on X39 3 months because I said, hey, he's 92. I don't want to bombard him. Then he went on the X49, which is our other stem cell patch. And he's also on carnosine, which is very good for the brain, very good for the heart and the muscles. So, but yeah, his cardiologist just said, this is miraculous, John. If I didn't know you were your age, I would think I was looking at labs of somebody in their 60s.
Wow.
And
that's incredible.
I don't want to be medical. And that's what I said in the rest of it. I said, guys, let's stay in our wellness and anti-aging lane. Because look at the results that we're getting, No, it's true. And I'm glad you said that, Janet, because, the FDA doesn't like it when you make medical claims. So we are not making any claims to diagnose, treat, or cure any sort of disease whatsoever. We are just providing a tool that the body can use to heal itself. We do not do any healing. The patches do not do any healing. The body heals itself. So it's very, very encouraging to find tools because everybody needs tools. Vets need tools. Vets need tools that they don't know that they need because a lot of them live in their little box. And if it's not something they were taught in a veterinary school, it's out of their circle of influence. It's out of their circle of education. So they just I don't know what else to do. There's nothing else I can try. So they have to go, that's why pet parents like us have to go seek out alternatives for ourselves and figure out, okay, what else can I try? And so that's one of the reasons I wanted to introduce this technology, because it is another amazing tool. It's a great complementary. It's a complementary tool that you can use in addition to, nutraceuticals and good, healthy diet and exercise, whether we're talking pets or people, it's not end all be all. It's not a quick, take a pill. Here's a pill for all ills kind of thing. But I think when you look at the body as a whole, you have to make sure that you're eating clean foods. You have to make sure that you're getting the
good, clean water, you're getting enough sleep, that you are supporting the body with specific nutrients and nutraceuticals that might be beneficial. And here's my boy. He always comes to visit during lives.
Oh my goodness. Oh, he's beautiful.
This is Gunner. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. Hey, sweet baby. Are you happy? You say hello. Say hi, everybody.
Oh, you got a little meow there.
Oh,
beautiful.
Snuggles.
Yeah,
So,
you bring up a great point though, Pam. I was watching a video with David, the inventor, this morning, getting ready for today. And he was focusing on having that foundation. The patches will work better. And about the X39, it was interesting, but really all of the patches have an anti-aging effect. Maybe the one for pain doesn't have as much of an anti-aging effect. But when you talk about the X39, he said the primary driver of the change is that 1/3 of the genome, which we have about 12,000 genes, 1/3 of that is being told, okay, now act like you're in your 20s and 30s. And that mechanism is why your body then goes, oh, I've got enough energy to produce stem cells again.
right.
Or whatever the body needs. So that's right in line with what you're saying.
If I may point out, for those of you in the audience, if you're kind of like Susan and me, we're science geeks, I wanted to know the research. So on the LifeWave.com website, there's a huge category called science, and there's, I don't know, maybe close to 100 clinical studies in there. So if you're that kind of person that wants that detail, go for it. It's great.
It's there. Exactly. That's awesome. Okay, so I wanted to just kind of put it out there. If anyone who is watching has any specific questions that we want to ask these amazing, smart ladies that they can share their wisdom with us, that'd be great. You're welcome to drop them into the chat box. I will be taking actually pre-orders. So I'm going to start. I put a couple of pages on my website on the shop.purrrfectlyholistic.com with the Aeon patch and the X39 patches. So I'm actually going to be doing some pre-orders. If you are interested in ordering these patches, they can be purchased by singles or a whole sleeve of 30. The singles are $6 and the sleeves for the X39 are $149.95 and the Aeon patch is $74.95, I believe, right? $74.79, $79.95. So yeah, so if you want to give it a shot, try it out, see how they work. Buy a few instead of buying a whole case or a whole sleeve. And then if you are totally convinced after using those several that you purchased, you can go back and get a whole sleeve of them. But so anyway, if you are interested in trying them, you can go to shop.purrrfectlyholistic.com, and under the products section, there is a category called phototherapy. So that's where you will see the LifeWave patches under phototherapy. Is there anything else that we missed that we need to cover, ladies?
I would offer to everyone out there, like all of us, we want to know, does it work? And pretty much Susan and I could stay here for 4 hours and tell you all the stories. It does, but they have a money back guarantee. And so we want you to know you're covered. Don't worry about it at all.
Okay, and here's something I wanted to cover with you guys. We focus a lot at Purrrfectly Holistic, of course, on our pets, specifically cats. But this is a product you can use on yourselves. You can use on your child. So I say give it a shot. This is one of those cool things. Buy a sleeve, and you can use it not only on your cats or your dogs or your pets or your farm animals or whatever you have, that might need a little help in some area, but you can also put it on yourself. And so it's kind of a 2-for-1, in that regard.
Pam, can I just, it is a 2-for-1 for sure. Pam, can I ask if Janet will share Leslie's story? Because this about her grandchildren. And I'm going to go grab Rocky because I know people aren't going to believe that Rocky's still with us if I don't go get her.
Yes. And there's a question. Okay. Leslie has a question. She says, so we wear them on ourselves for 12 hours. And what location do you put them on?
So go ahead and get Rocky, Susan, and I'll answer. All right. So folks, the patches come with a little booklet that has pictures of exactly where to put them. So you don't have to worry about that. And there's a number of patches if you decide to get involved. But again, they're clinically tested. I mean, they have people in multiple series of tests, so they have to pick a spot they can replicate. And I'm doing this because it's off in the back of the neck where my X39 is right now. But they work with the whole infrared field. So you can't really make a mistake. It's okay. So don't worry, you'll be told that. So you asked about with people, and also I would say one little side note on pets. They also help pets calm down for like thunder and lightning. We've got more dog owners on it. Soon Pam will be the expert for the cats. But a lot of the dog owners say, my dog isn't shivering and freaking out the way they usually do when the thunderstorms rolled in. So like Susan asked me to tell a story that I almost hesitate to tell, but she asked me to. We don't prescribe, and we're not saying this can cure anything.
Correct.
But the X39 patch is clinically proven to work with the brain. And for those with dementia and Alzheimer's and strokes and even autism, there's been clinical studies that it brings down the inflammation, cognitive abilities get better. Again, I can't run out and say, we're going to help your Aunt Sally's dementia. You're up tomorrow. But when we do our presentations on Sunday night, I can show you some data of brain scans where the brain is getting more clear over the weeks. That said, we have a woman here, I'm in the Texas area. She had a stroke. She's mid-60s, and it affected her leg on her left side and also kind of coordination. So she couldn't swim. She couldn't really exercise. But her doctor said, hey, you're doing great, go home. Well, she puts a patch on because she actually loved the age reversal. She wanted to still look great. And the next day, her left leg starts working better. She's like, oh. So then the next day, she gets in her pool. You know how Texas is. And she swims across the pool for the first time in 4 years.
Wow.
So now she's like, I don't know what these patches are doing, but something's going on. Well, she has twin granddaughters, 4 years old, that were born at 17 weeks. And they were in the hospital for a year. They had brain bleeds. They came out on the spectrum. And their wonderful mother has been taking care of them. They didn't talk. They weren't potty trained. They were not social. The doctor said, honestly, they'll probably be cerebral palsy. We probably won't see much over a year-old cognitive ability. So she walks over and she says to her daughter, I want to put these things on the girls. And her daughter goes, what are they? She goes, I don't know, but I want to try them. And so they placed them on the girl's back of the neck. And as Leslie will tell it, it's like the next day they woke up and they're looking at each other and they're looking at the mom. And the next day they start talking.
Wow.
And I'm slightly off on time schedule, but within a week, they were able to take them to a restaurant, which they've never been able to do. Within another week, they're potty trained. They're now know their ABCs. They're singing. They were checked out at Children's Hospital in Dallas, I think around January. And the doctor just was shocked. And he said, I don't know what you're doing, but they don't need to come back anymore. So what we wanted caution, your research, what you'll find out is that the stem cell activation, the dropping of inflammation starts to work with the brain rather quickly. And since they're so inexpensive, why wouldn't you try? Is kind of how we feel. They can't hurt you.
Well, and I would call that a welcome side effect.
Exactly.
And I caution, I'm not saying we're curing those
Right.
issues. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But how interesting that, there's the potential to just give a little kickstart to that element in the brain that handles all of that. And maybe that's all it needed. Just that little stimulation,
Pam, if I can jump in here. Last week, I started doing research. One of our new customers in Australia had a question about MS. She had it. And I said, well, I don't have a lot. Let me go in and look. And I found a couple of videos. One was a younger woman. She looked like she was in her 40s. And again, it's the medical disclaimer. It's simply sometimes these stem cells turn us on in such a way. This woman was out of her wheelchair in a week. The other woman was probably in her late 70s. I'm imagining she'd had MS for 37 years. And I think she was, I don't know, something like a mountain climber, some extreme sport before it really took her over. And she predicts that she'll be back doing that sport within a year. Just the changes in her physiology.
Yeah.
So we need, all I can say is obviously we need healthy stem cells. Yeah, we need that repair. And speaking of repair, everybody, I want you to meet Rocky. Now look at this tummy. I don't know if you can see it. Look at the gut, okay? You can't. Oh my gosh. So
hi, Rocky. Sweet girl.
Say
hi, baby.
Hi.
What a darling. Oh my goodness. Well, this has been so much fun. If anybody has any final questions before we wrap up, feel free to drop them in the chat box. Any final thoughts or anything else you guys want to share before we close?
If they get back with you, Pam, and have questions, Susan and I are definitely available to, and again, there's lots of information out there, and we hold some kind of group meetings, info meetings, if anyone's, we're just here to serve the pets, the people, whatever.
That sounds wonderful. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what we can do with the cat community and helping get our kitties healthier and happier, and just let's be the petri dish for cats.
Yeah.
Can our community volunteer to sign up for that? Because I'm willing.
And they would say record your cat's story and get back to Pam.
That's a great idea.
Take pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
Pam,
I think
you are already that petri dish. When I looked at your website the other day, I went, oh my gosh, talk about comprehensive. But Pam and I discussed in a side note, I think yesterday, that we'd love to see more vets get on board. We do have vets, and do some research. Do some research as we use these. Let's see what the labs look like on our kitties and, and of course, other animals as well. And, really help bring the whole community up. Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you very much, Pam, for giving Janet and I this opportunity to talk about something that obviously we're passionate about. And absolutely, any questions, we'll be happy to help in any way we can.
Absolutely. So I'm going to put out a challenge for anyone who does order the patches from me. I want you to do a video library from before you start using the patch with your cat or your pet, and then start doing like a daily just video or diary of things that you notice that are different, any improvements, any changes, and just kind of monitor that over a 2-week period. Heck, you might be surprised after just a few days to see major results. But I think video is so powerful, and you can't deny. I mean, people can write anything on a piece of paper, but when you see it with your own eyes and you get labs that prove, like your dad, like, holy cow, what are you doing? Whatever it is, keep doing it. It's working. You can't deny those kind of results. So that's my challenge to people. take a video diary or just document what you see, what you notice, and let's spread the word, because it's really, really incredible.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
yes.
Thank you. With that, we will wrap things up. But thank you so much, ladies, for taking the time to be with us today and share this incredible technology with our community. We really appreciate it. And I know this video will get a lot of views, probably a ton more than in the middle of the afternoon sometimes. But we will put some links in the on the platforms, on the sites, to the shop.purrrfectlyholistic.com page where you can order the patches. Again, we're pre-ordering them, so I will probably give it about 2 weeks or so before I do an order, just so I can make sure that I have enough based on interest. So let me know if you guys have any questions. You can always reach out to me at Pam@Purrrfectly Holistic. And with that, we will say goodbye. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and thanks again for coming.
Yep. Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.